Hey, everybody.
Hey, hey.
Hey, look at me and Francisco coming at you from different rooms today. We were chased out of our original rooms by the hurricane.
That back to back too.
Yeah, we're lucky. We're lucky. I don't think Tampa's been hit in like 100 years, and we got hit twice back to back. And
Yeah, that was crazy.
yeah, we like it that way, And that's the other thing, we should be focusing on soon. Um, But I'm about to make out an email going, if you guys are not cold calling Florida, you are missing out on properties. I'd say 20% of the people in my community right now are willing to sell to an investor. You know, it's crazy because their homes are literally demolished. They're demolished. Like they literally have to tear it down and rebuild it. There's houses in my neighborhood now for 250K that I think we're going for 900,000. Now, clearly there's no walls, or anything like that. But even to gut a whole place is cheaper. To gut a whole place and replace the house with the surrounding frame is cheaper than building it up. So there's a lot of opportunities coming. I remember I made a post that says, "Who wants to buy my house for 50 cents on the dollar?" I had like three people say that in my community. I'm like, I need to get this in front of my clients, So, guys, I'll tell you right now, as a little tip, coastal towns on the west coast of Florida are very fucking interested in selling. Okay.
You're getting 20%?
What's that?
You're getting 20% from all your
What
leads?
do you mean 20%? What do you mean?
Or you said you're getting 20%, like people that want to sell from your
Oh, no. What I'm
portfolio?
saying is in my community, I'm seeing that 20% of the people whose homes were demolished, whose homes were
Oh,
flooded, about
geez.
20% of those people, they want to abandon their home. They don't,
Right.
and I don't know why, but I mean, everyone has their reasons. But I can't believe how many of my neighbors, if you actually, let me see if I took a screenshot of this shit. If you guys want to see, like after the storms hit, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Look at this. Look at all the houses on the market after the storm hit.
Crazy.
And
Taking
that,
the money.
and that,
Yeah.
and that's just my neighborhood. Okay. That is not like that's just my little neighborhood in my
Wow.
area. Yeah, it's crazy. So I highly recommend if anyone does houses, I'd say west coast of Florida just became a hotspot. And then think of the other places that got decimated, whether it's Tennessee or South Carolina or all these areas. Um, People are ready to go. And we don't, I hate to opportunize on a disaster, but you know what? The truth is this is actually a huge favor to these people, right? If we buy their property from them, they're able to put this behind them and start elsewhere. And the good news is there's not a lot of people on this call, so not a lot of people are getting this ninja tip right now. So, so just to share with you guys.
I think the insurance pays for their damage too. So it's like if they sell their home, don't they get both?
I'll be honest with you. I don't really know how that works because a big part of why the insurance pays you is to repair your home. So
Mm.
I don't, if you're leaving, I don't know what you get. And I'm just being transparent. I know I'm only getting money to repair my home. If I leave my home and I sell it as is, I have no idea the payday. If there is, I really don't know too much, but I know that after insurance pays you, they come and inspect to make sure the damage was done. So in this case, if you move, I don't think they're going to be paying out but I really don't know a lot about that side of things. If they're getting some money in bailing, or the other thing is, flood insurance only pays 250K. That's the max they'll pay. So if
Wow.
someone's home needs 400K, they have to come up with the $150,000 difference themselves. So the max in flood insurance will pay is 250K, at least in my neighborhood. But that's what I heard from a very reputable source too. So like super rich people,
Okay.
whole house got messed up, or they had like a studio downstairs, like it's not covered past that 250K mark.
Right. So if the damage is more than that, they'll probably just sell it.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, or they'll have to come out of pocket. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. A lot of people they don't want to be in the flood zone again, so a lot of people don't even want to deal with this because they're like, "Well, I just got flooded. I'll get flooded again." Me, I'm a little different because I'm actually already in the process of lifting my house. So I already started that process before the storm hit. That I'm like, I'm going to lift it. Um, and so I feel pretty good about staying. My home's never going to flood again after it gets lifted, and stuff like that. But awesome, guys. Thank you all so much for coming today. I'm gonna pass this baton over to Francisco. I know we've got some great people here. I know Jay Moore is in the house. We got Francisco in the house. Thank you guys so much for jumping on and joining us. Francisco, if you want to take it away, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, man. So luckily, I have a real-time example of something that we can all learn from, including myself. And I scanned the document so I could show you guys. And I think this is, if you do real estate long enough, what I'm about to go over would eventually happen to each and every one of you at some point. And we've heard about sellers ghosting us after we've given them offers, not responding back after we get on the contract and stuff like that. How many people have gone through that particular instance? Has anyone ever found a resolution to that? Like post getting it under contract, we're about to close, and then they just go MIA. Has anyone ever dealt with that and found like a remedy to it? Or like what did you guys do after that? If you want to open the floor and share. And then I can go over this learning experience that I just
I
went
found
through.
out it was a scammer, so it was probably best they didn't come back. But I know there's real people out there too.
Yeah. Yeah, scammers will definitely do that because one the title companies should have a layer of verification and also, vet the people out as well too. Normally they don't transfer money unless they, confirm that this is actually the right person. But in instances where you have the right person and they also ghost you, what have you guys done in that? Because I think I got something that works, which is crazy.
I just keep following up until they say no or
Gotcha. So I literally got these documents and I'm gonna share my screen in just a second. But all of my mail I have go to like my dad's house, right? And he was calling me like twice back to back. Was like, yo, you got this FedEx package here. You probably should come get it. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll come get it, whatever. I normally come get my mail every so often, right? And this time he just like kept bugging me about it. And I'm like, okay, wait, you know what? Let me just go and get it. So I opened a FedEx package and let me share my screen. I totally forgot that I did this a couple years ago. So this was what came in the FedEx package, a release of interest. So the backstory to this was I was dealing with this seller in 2021. And in 2021, we signed a purchase agreement. And a couple days before closing, the seller's daughter decided they didn't want to go ahead and move forward with the closing for the simple fact that they got a higher offer. So they were like, you know what? We're not signing the closing documents. Mind you, the buyer had already wired his funds to title. They already signed their portion of the documents. They literally just had to sign the settlement statements, the HUD statements, and that was it, right? So what I ended up doing is I ended up filing what they call a notice of interest on this property, right? And this is what it looks like. I totally forgot about this. 100%. Totally forgot about this. And now they're trying to sell, right? And the lady who is doing the title work sent me or tried to send me an email and asked to essentially have me release this this notice of interest because they cannot sell without addressing this first. And the reason this is a learning experience is because when I was trying to figure out what to do, and this is what a notice of interest is another word for like a memorandum. When I was researching on what to do, this is one of the options that came up. So I was like, okay, let me give it a try. 3 years, I have not heard anything until today. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where, you got in contact with the right person, they ghost you or whatever the case may be, and they don't want to move forward, and you have a legally binding contract with the right person, this is definitely probably something that you should incorporate in your business. Because I'm definitely going to do this moving forward now. So I sent an email to the title agent that sent me these documents, and I pretty much just gave her two alternatives. I gave her one option would be to honor the original purchase agreement of the owner of record. So between me and the owner of record of this property, they can either honor the original agreement for what we're going to buy it for, which was I think it was like 42,000, or to satisfy this notice of interest, they could just pay $10,000 to satisfy it. So either or, right? So I would say this is definitely, and this is the biggest thing that I've learned as well too, because this is the kicker in all of it. Before I responded, what I wanted to make sure I did was I found the purchase agreement that I had with the seller, and I also wanted to find the email correspondence that I had with the seller and they had with the title company. So this is the lesson in all of this is keep track of every transaction that you do, whether it closes or whether it doesn't close. Because the email that I tried to find all of the documents to, I didn't have access to anymore. So I thought, okay, let me just repurchase the email and then I could just access all of the email back and forth. But if you have Google, Google gives you 6 months, and after 6 months, it deletes all of your email transactions. So I had to reach out to the title company, ask them to provide me all of the contracts and all of the email documentation. And luckily they were able to provide that for me. But God forbid they would have like closed down or whatever happened, I would have probably be SOL. So the biggest lesson in all of this is to make sure, and this is what I'm going to do moving forward to make sure I'm like very anal about this, whether they close or whether they do not close, keep track of all of your documentation for every single transaction that you do, because this is essentially like $10,000 that, again, this was 3 years ago, 2021. This was April 14th, 2021. So this is probably living proof that these notice of interest actually work if you do them correctly. And the weird part is the number that's on here, I don't even have that number no more. So I'm pretty sure they tried to call me and they weren't getting me whatsoever. So just a little gem, because I literally learned this today as well too. So just a heads up for you guys who ever run into this situation. This is living proof that this works. And what I'll do for you guys is I'll probably template this, like take all my name and stuff like that, and then that way you can have it in your arsenal if you ever come across situations like this. Because if you be in real estate long enough, this will eventually happen to you. And this is a good way to protect yourself against people that want to back out of legally binding contracts um, after they sign or agree to sell their property to you.
Yeah, I got a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who ended up filing the notice of interest? Was it the title company?
Yeah, the title company ended up doing it for me. Yeah.
So they did that for you. That's nice.
Mhm. Yep. And it was because I had a good relationship with them. And then what I did was I can't remember. I think I reached out to a real estate attorney to get the wording on this agreement. And then I just filed it. And then I didn't put a specific number on here, but at the bottom it says for payoff information, please contact the business owner. And then it gives you my name, my mailing address, and then a phone number. So yeah, that was like I was like crazy. That was crazy because I specifically remember this seller, and the seller herself wanted to move forward. It was the daughter that was like throwing a wrench into the whole equation. So this was a good learning experience for me too. So I feel like it was beneficial. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, just in case you guys ever run into that issue.
Hey,
Chris, go ahead.
Francisco. Oh,
Um, Carl, I'll get you right after Chris. Okay.
sure. Okay.
I think she was before me. If you want to go ahead and grab her.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry about that. Carla, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, not a problem. So, how did you know when to do that? Is that something you do when you get it under contract, or is that something you did when you found out that the daughter was trying to do what she was wanting to do
Yeah.
during that period that it was under contract? Is that like if you had 60 days to close? So within that 60 days, when you start running into that kind of issue, is that when you filed that notice of interest?
Yeah, I did it afterwards. I have heard people like include it into their purchase agreements or maybe do it, like beforehand just so they can have it. But I never done it that way because I always like assume like, hey, once you sign, everything will be good. But I want to actually explore to see how do I even incorporate it into the purchase agreement. I'm not sure how that plays out too as well.
Now,
Or
do you put the now, as you said you didn't put the amount on there. Have you
mm-mm.
found out that you should put the amount that you guys agreed upon in that notice of interest?
No, I just emailed them back. I can actually show you the email that I wrote to them this morning in response to this. Um and I tried calling to get a response,
Mm-hmm.
but the lady was at lunch when I had called. So I was like, okay, let me just try to get her back next time.
You talking about the lady at the title company?
Yeah, the lady at the title company.
Okay. So do what? Okay. So are you going to try to find another buyer for it, or are you going to wait for their response?
I really want them just to pay me $10,000 to release the lien. And I was just like,
Okay.
the worst they could say is try to negotiate it down, or because I gave them two options. I was like, we can either move forward with the original agreement that
Mm-hmm.
was that we did back in 2021 with
Okay.
updated to the buyer entity because I don't have that LLC that I originally had on that contract. I don't have it anymore. I just let it go. And then back then, like they were selling for like 45, 50. Now in Palm Coast, it's easily like I could sell it for like 60, 65 easily.
Wow.
Um, or I was like, to fully satisfy the lien, just pay the amount of 10,000 and we'll be good to go. So either or. So that way it's not like, oh, okay, just do this. I really want them to take option two. But if they take
Okay.
option one, it's still, a win-win, right? Because
Okay.
essentially the whole point of this is making sure they can't move forward without addressing this first.
So when they do get let's say they go ahead and they settle for option two. So at closing, you get your $10,000
Correct.
if you. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
So
Wow, that's interesting. Oh.
yeah. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah. So I've got so this is a I've got a property under contract right now. Just looking for some advice on it. If everyone doesn't mind to kind of shift the uh,
Yeah.
topic, I guess. But so I've got 202.5 acres under contract. It seems to be a really good deal. I got it under contract for 20K. Just got reappraised for the tax assessor site for this year at 73.5. Um, the one problem I'm running into is that the tax assessor's property lines are like way off. So like there's a mobile home on it, there's a garage, like a detached garage, and it's got a he has an easement and a paved driveway. So everything a buyer might be looking at online would completely uh, paint an inaccurate picture of the potential of the property. Um, so I do have a buddy of mine who said that he could get in there in the next couple weeks and get a new survey done with new plans drawn up. Um, I'm wondering and that would be about 800 to $1,000. I had another mentor of mine tell me to, I guess, market it out, potentially find someone who's interested in making an offer, and then like present that problem to them and let them know that, hey, I can have a survey done on this. Also, just to add, this agreement between the seller and I is not assignable. So my two options are find a buyer, double close, or just close on it myself and relist with an agent. Um, so just based off that information, does anyone have any thoughts on? Um,
My suggestion would probably be relisted with an agent. I recently did that on this deal that's actually closing today that I need to email them back about. As long as the deal, it sounds like you have it at a really good price. You got it for what, 20 grand,
yeah,
and they just reassessed it for 73.5, you said?
yeah,
I would put that bad boy on the market, to be honest.
okay,
Um, and I don't know, how hot or how much in demand that particular market that you are in. But if people can identify that it's a grab, they will come banging down your door about that particular deal. I had a cool conversation with the buyer that bought this most recent deal that I'm closing on today, and he pretty much gave me a direction where I need to like do some more research. And I think Jay might know a little bit about this, but he told me to look at the future land use map for the particular county. Because I asked him, like, why was he so aggressive and how did he know that this was a good deal to go after? Because he had 0 day inspection, 0 day due diligence, and he put 10 grand up. So I was just kind of like, you seem very sure about this deal from the very beginning. What was it about? What was it that made you feel so confident? And then he explained to me, I would have to go back and listen to like the recording. But he basically explained that he memorized the zoning rules for that particular county in Hillsborough County that we're in. So if you put it up on the market, there's people that are like they train their eye to see good deals like that.
mm,
Outside of acquisition price, if it's in a good area that's in high demand and it's someone that knows what the future land use is, they'll grab it all day and try to get it from you. So
okay,
that would be my recommendation. And especially what I've learned recently is if the buyers come to you, you're in way further control as opposed to reaching out. Not that it's anything wrong to reach out to buyers and build those relationships, but I recently had an eye-opening revelation where if you have a good deal, the buyers will literally come banging out your door.
okay, cool.
So that would be my
When it comes to
recommendation to
the
you.
when it comes to the survey situation, do you think it would be worth putting up my own funds to 800 to $1,000 to have that tangible piece of like that new plat drawn
Yeah.
for buyers for on the market?
Surveys shouldn't be that much. It's that much over there where you guys are at?
I mean, I've heard even like generally higher than that.
What?
Like 800 to $1,000 to have it done in a couple weeks, new plans drawn up. That was like a super cheap for me.
Uh, Dang. I would say if the deal is worth it, like if you got that big of a spread, I would take that gamble, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can do that. But if that spread is that huge, I would definitely take that gamble.
Okay. So it sounds
So
like
why are they reassessing the property line?
uh they're not. I'm thinking about having my own survey completed on the property because the tax assessors uh lines are way off. So like there's a mobile home and a garage on it. Online, it appears that the mobile home and the garage are a part of or inside of the adjacent property, but it's not. It's all his property. Like the county sites or lines are just way off.
Oh, so it needs to be rezoned with the county.
Yeah, just the county just doesn't have accurate like digital data. They don't have updated property lines. Um, so it's just a matter of having an accurate survey.
Yeah, then I would do that.
Yeah. Okay.
I would do this. I would do the survey just so you can have a more up to date, visual of the particular property. And for the prospective buyer, if they happen to ask for it, you already have it handy. So that's like one less thing that you have to, worry
Yeah,
about.
because
And
it seemed like I was just gonna, if I blasted it out to a buyer's list, I just didn't want to deal with the questions of like, hey, like, you
So
know,
it sounds like two plots that were put together and they just added the easement on them.
well, so the adjacent property to his is actually like they don't even know who owns it. Um, but I think he got an easement through. There's really weird property lines right there. There's like a really sleek sliver of property line that goes right in front of his property to the road, which like online appears to make his property look landlocked, but it's not. He's had a paved driveway there with an easement since like 1975. Um,
Chris, could I ask a point of clarity?
sure.
Are you looking at the assessor's map with this discrepancy on the property lines, or where did you see the information where there's this question mark on the boundaries?
So I'm in Tennessee. It's the Tennessee Tax Assessor site on the GIS map.
I mean, I've been in land for a little bit. I think that usually there's some discrepancy on every GIS map, and so, there's probably plus or minus, could be 20 feet. I don't know what the exact foot is, but there's always some discrepancy. The property lines never look exact. I don't know if it's a curvature, uh, you know,
Yeah.
of the
Well,
globe,
this
but
one
yeah,
appears to be like way off because
way off. Yeah.
like you can see the mobile home and the garage like clearly in the adjacent property, but really like all of that stuff is his, and it goes past that stuff. Um, so it seems to be is a pretty is a pretty big discrepancy.
Is it permanent foundation stuff? Like it's planted,
Um, as
or is
far
it
as
like a shed?
I mean it's a pretty large separate like detached garage. It's like a yeah, it's I mean it's like a concrete foundation.
Yeah, so not movable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not
Yeah.
easily movable for sure.
I mean, what's the worst case scenario then if you have to kind of like negotiate that if it's on your property? Like, is there a way to get another easement for that and have them, I don't know what the real solution is, but maybe they pay you for that if it's on the actual lot and find a way to,
Well, I mean, if it's actually so on his tax record on the tax assessor site, he's got it's where it says what's on the property. It's like it says mobile home, detached garage, unfinished porch, blah blah blah. Like all of that is on his tax assessor's data records. Um, so it's clearly his and a part of his property, but just from the looks of the map, it's in the adjacent property. And he's already spoken to the county and about it before. And he went to them in person, was like, "Hey, if all of this stuff isn't on my property, then you owe me so many years of back taxes that I've been paying on this." So like we know that it's all his and it's part of his property. It's just a matter of the problem. The I guess the concern for me was negotiating with buyers, and all they have to look at is what's online, and they're gonna kind of be concerned with like, well, hey, well, what's going on with all of this here? It's like your property lines are off. Like, how do I know that all of this is part of the property? So that's why I was thinking about just having the legitimate survey done. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah,
you
I
you
like the
have enough
survey
skin in the
idea.
game. I would do anything that would, be a benefit to selling the property. I had an issue where I had a coach tell me not to get a survey done. I ended up getting the survey done. And or no, they told me not to get the perk test done. I ended up getting the perk test
Oh,
done because the buyer wouldn't move forward without the perk test and he refused to pay for it. So I just paid for it and made the
Okay,
sale.
that's
And,
all.
you've got enough skin in the game.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
If
it
it's
sounds
going to
like it
help
would be
move
it
the
sounds like it
property
would be a
faster, then,
yeah.
you know,
It sounds like it would be a value add
yeah,
for
absolutely. I mean, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. I
Yeah.
would do it, but
so it sounds like my next move would be to reach out to local agents who've sold land in the area and get um and get their opinion on what it would sell for on market.
Wow. Yeah. Because you got a lot of upside to shoot like to hang your hat on, basically. You know, if your spread was like 2, 3 grand and then the survey was like 1,000, then I don't know, but you
Yeah.
got plenty of wiggle room based on the numbers that you brought up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. It sounds like I think I think I got an action plan here, so sounds good.
No problem. Keep killing it.
Yeah.
Jennifer, go ahead with your question.
yeah, I have a question. I have a property that I just got under contract in Alabama, and it has um, it has power lines running right through the property, right through the middle of the property. And I don't know how to market this thing. I mean, I've got like
Mm.
pictures and you know what I'm saying? Like I just need some help with marketing it because I know it's going to be a hard sell.
What is it zoned for?
Residential.
Residential? Oh.
Yeah.
And is there like other lots or houses around it?
Yeah. Yep.
And the power lines run right through it. Oof.
Yeah, right through it.
I've never dealt with that situation, but anyone
Power
in
line power lines and a and an easement running right through the middle as well. So, yeah, I just
Market it to the neighbor.
yeah, well, obviously. But beyond that, what if they don't want it? You know what I'm saying? So,
Make it so they do want it.
yeah.
what do you have it for?
I have it for 25 and I told the seller, I said, listen, um, I may have to come back. I said, in 3 months, if I don't have this thing sold, I'm gonna have to come back and renegotiate our contract to bring it lower.
What
So
were their, what was their response to that?
they were fine. They were fine with it. They know it's a horrible property. I mean, you know, so
And why did they buy it to begin with?
it was handed down to them. And
Mm.
and what happened was the power company came in and put those power lines in unapproved. They did not have the right to do that, and they just did that.
Mm.
It was a generational. This was owned by the mother and then by the grandparents before that. And so like, it was like I think 40 years ago or something like that, they came through and they just put power lines in unbeknownst to them. And yeah, is what a nightmare.
In that area, is there new construction development going on?
I'm not sure.
I will try to see and research one if there's any like new construction development for like what they call spec home builders,
Okay.
and then reach out to all of the builders in that area and see if if this would be something that they would be interested in, and then let them deal with the fact that there's like a power line running across the middle of it. Then the second thing that I would do, just to exhaust all options, is I would reach out to two types of realtors. I would reach out to realtors that have listed property for builders that have recently sold new construction houses. And then
Okay.
I would also reach out to realtors that have represented buyers in purchasing vacant land as well too.
And how do you find those specific types of realtors?
So in the area that you're in, I would start off with Zillow. And then you could either start by zip code, or if you could draw an area around, where you're looking at. And then let me use an example and see if I could find somewhere. What part of Alabama is it?
Walker County. So you said the two types were realtors who represent buyers for land, and then the other type was what?
Realtors who have listed new construction homes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will go on this listing recently sold in Alabama, sold for 20K. And then I will scroll down, and then you see how it says bought with Coleman Associations of Realtors. It
Right.
doesn't have the person's name, but sometimes it'll have the agent that represented the buyer on this transaction, and then I will reach
Right.
out.
Yeah.
And then you just go
Why do you think that new builders would want that lot?
because they would need land to in order to build their new construction houses. And if it's something that they can work around by removing the power lines or working with the county or the city, and they feel like it might be a good fit to build, their product on, then they might be a potential buyer for you.
Oh, okay.
And then in the reverse side, you'll just do houses that were built within a certain year. So you want to do
Uh-huh.
2020. Let's do 2023 and 2024. And then you press apply. And then you'll just click on right here. And then if you scroll down, it should have the agent name that works with this builder right here. So the builder that built this house worked with Brandy Elizabeth. And then you'll just reach out to Brandy and say, hey, I have this property over here located in Walker County. I just wanted to see if the builder that you were working with that sold 2475 Creekside Lane um, is interested in more land for their projects.
Okay.
And then those are the two types of realtors that I would go after.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
No problem. Anybody else have any other questions? Anything you guys working on that okay, sorry about that. Anything you guys working on that you guys, like found challenging over the past couple of weeks, or anything new that kind of like gave you any roadblocks? You guys want to share? Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to share a disappointment I had on a appointment I had a single family house. I pulled up at the house and was with the seller hanging out for like 2 hours, and I just made some like negotiation mistakes of
Mhm.
I shouldn't have given him a number because his wife wasn't there. So it sounded like we were like kind of jiving and in agreement to some things, but it was like after I left, after his wife got home and they had a conversation, she like killed the deal.
Uh,
And
what was the
like
wife
next,
saying?
she was just she wanted 215. She wants like no less than 215. We were like at 195, and like he seemed interested in just like us coming in and taking care of everything because he had junk everywhere.
Mhm.
He was he seemed like he was acting as if he was gonna like try to fix up some of the house and like finish the trim, but there's like trim falling off everywhere.
Mhm.
Um, it seems like his wife um is like putting like so much pressure on him to add value to this house before they sell it or something, but there's just
Mhm.
like junk just compiling everywhere, and it's just obvious that they just need to get out.
Gotcha.
Um, so yeah, his wife kind of she said no and kind of halted the whole thing. But yeah, like kind of like you were talking about, or I think the email that we got earlier from Nick was like the follow up.
Hmm.
You know, I kind of like I sent him like three consecutive messages over the next like 4 days or so, and the last one was like, "Hey, haven't heard from you.
Yeah.
Um, like, do you want to tell me to go pound sand or what?" And then that, and they and then he reached back out to me and was like, "Hey, my wife aren't seeing eye to eye. Sorry, I haven't got back to you.
Hmm.
blah, blah, blah. And I was like, so the negotiations are back on. It's just there might still be a deal there. I think it just might be some time for them to realize that they're not going to get the amount they want unless they list it with a realtor.
Mm. So what, like, do they already have a destination of where they wanting to move to?
Yeah, they want to be more rural. Um, they're in quite a like 135K total debt, credit, and mortgage and everything. Um, so they can't qualify for a USDA loan until they get all that debt paid off.
Gotcha.
And that's
Okay.
the loan they want to use to buy their next place and downsize and get more rural.
Mm. Oh, and you're in Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I would do if I were you, and this is totally optional. I would consider getting licensed, right? Consider getting licensed.
Mhm.
And the reason I say that is because the if she wants 215, right? The only other option is to go on the market with a realtor and
Yeah.
try to get 215. If she goes that route, she's going to have to pay 4, 5, 6% to somebody,
Yeah.
right?
Might as well
And
be.
that's going to affect the bottom line that she wants. So you have to, they both have to take that into consideration. And I think one of the things that has helped me kind of frame the discussion around the final purchase price is this a vanity number or is this a bottom line number?
Hmm.
Because if you factor in 215 after commissions, closing costs, and all of the standard regular stuff, you're not getting 215. You're
Yeah.
walking away with less than that.
Yeah.
And then just do the math, 215 minus 6% minus, an extra 1% for closing costs and stuff like that, title insurance for the owner if they pick the title company and things of that nature. And then this is your take home at 215 if you go this route. And then I will present your solution and say, hey, if you buy, if I'm able to help you out, buy it at this price, take care of this for you and able to get you to the closing table, this is what you walk away with. And then the last framing that I would do is which one of these options gets you closer to your next destination. And then you
Mm.
just leave it up to them. Because at that point it's just a math thing. It's not necessarily like they're going to get 215 and pocket the whole 215 anyway. I could see if they were like mortgage free or they was free and clear, but 215 is
Yeah.
just
I mean, it's going to be closer to like 195 anyway.
So if you do the math, you're going to end up with around the same ballpark anyway. So at 215, what? Let me see. 215 minus 6%. You're at 202.
Yeah.
You're stopping your progress for a $7,000 difference.
Yeah. Either. So have you ever, which I think I know you're licensed, uh,
Hmm.
but for unlicensed folk, if you have a good relationship with realtors who get listing leads from you and they get the listing, do you have uh, a system in place for getting referral fees or like do you have like a maybe like a marketing fee contract you can sign with them or something?
You can do like a trans. I don't think you can label it legally. I don't think you can label it a referral fee if you're not licensed. But I'm almost certain you could probably do like a different type of fee, like a marketing fee or a transaction
Consultation
fee.
fee.
A consultation fee. Yeah, you could do that as well too. Um, and then that way you could still get
It'd have to be,
compensated.
it would have to be like a flat fee too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be a flat fee type of thing. And then yeah, literally that seller's progress is being stopped because of a $7,000 difference.
Yeah, I think my hypothesis is that they're gonna get a couple of weeks or like a month down the road and
I
realize
would
that
go to I would even go as far as giving them options of where they could afford to move after with their net proceeds.
you said give them options of where they could afford to move. Okay.
With their net proceeds. If they plan on buying cash or I don't know if financing is an option for them.
Yeah, well, their goal is to pay off their debt and then qualify for their next USDA loan.
Mm. But the house has a mortgage of 135.
No, the house, so they have 40K in credit debt.
Oh.
like an almost like another 40 in a loan he took out to fix up the house, which he hasn't done, and then the rest of that is the mortgage debt.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah. I would just ask when you follow up, I would just ask them implication questions next time, like based on, your guys' current options, like how long do you want to wait to sell and keep this up? You know what I'm saying? Like figure out a way to like just breathe, like touch on their pain point, but not like dig into it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because sometimes you just have to put things into perspective for people for them to see like, oh, okay, it's really you have to give it to you have to focus more on the bottom line, what's beneficial for them. And yes, obviously you want to make money and in the process, but really you have to give it to them plain so they can act. Some people are visual. And if he was already kind of teetering on the fence of, at 190, 195, and that's what you guys are very, that's what they want to end up close to anyway, you know.
yeah. I actually wanted to be somewhere between like 150 and 170
Ooh.
after running my numbers. So it was like 195 was like still pretty high for me.
If you got it at 195, what would you do with it?
Um, I don't think I would make that much of an assignment fee on it. I think the repairs may be around like 27K. There's like there's like a little over 1,000 square feet. Wasn't a heavy rehab, but not like quite a light one either. So I just like estimated like $25 a square foot. So it's going to be around like 27 to 35K repair or something,
What's the ARV in the neighborhood?
like 260.
Jeez.
So yeah, I mean,
Still kind of tired though.
yeah, it's super tight. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Hey,
that
can
would
I add to what you guys are chatting about around I think the numbers, you guys are talking about this from a numbers perspective, which is great because we're investors, but I think that from the seller's perspective, maybe it's good to approach like what they're going to do with the money after they sell it because you're solving so many problems for them. You're solving the issue of the cleanup, you're solving the loan issue, you're solving, we don't have to deal with this anymore with the trim. I don't have to fix it. Like you're solving like four issues for them all at once.
Right.
So I would try to focus on like, hey, what's next for you guys? What are you going to do with the money? And if you could help them work out the math where they can actually walk away with something after they pay off those loans. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I
like,
mean, yeah. Does that make sense?
after what you just said, like my next question would be, if I was in their shoes, would be like, okay, well, how long after we close and you have your, the cash in hand, like how long is it going to take you to after you pay off everything? Um, how long is it going to take you to qualify for the USDA loan? Um,
Mhm.
then, where are you going to be or where are you going to stay? How much cash do you have on hand to I guess house yourselves until you qualify for the loan and get an agent to buy a new place, right? So I guess the timeline on that back end seems to be
Yeah,
important.
you're basically the easy button. I mean, you're making it easy for them if they can sell to you,
yeah.
but they have to see that. So,
To Matt's point, and he brings up a very good point too. Maybe if you even run down all of the solutions you can provide to all of the problems that they have, say like, hey, if I can get you to pay off your debt, right? If I can create a situation where I can pay off your credit card debt, pay off your mortgage, and give you a place, give you enough funds to relocate and be able to qualify for a USDA loan, where does that leave us at? And then just let them decide because ultimately it's going to be their choice anyway. So Matt brings up a really good point. Like maybe you should highlight all of the things you are able to do for them, and then just simply ask us where would that leave us at,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then that way they can focus less on what they're walking away with or the purchase price and be like, "Oh, okay, well, now I mean, and then just insert said solutions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's good. It's good.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, appreciate that.
perfect. And I think another thing also that I'm gonna dive into as well too, especially going into next year, or leading up to next year, is just getting better at negotiating and just sales skills too. Because I think sales outside of making money, to Matt's point again, just to highlight what he just mentioned, is really just focusing on creating situations that solve problems for people.
Yep.
And then once you're able to articulate the solutions that you're able to bring to the table, it makes it a lot easier to, for the seller to receive and also take action on the solutions that you bring forward. Because
Yeah.
really, the only thing that we have to do is, be able to be in a place where we're able to explain or show the seller that we are probably the best opportunity for them, but there's also alternatives as well too. And then you just put them in a position where they're able to make their own informed and decision that benefits them the most. So
Yeah. For everyone here, don't give anyone a number unless all decision makers are there.
correct. Yeah.
Main way in that appointment.
And you can ask them too. I got this from Keith Everett, because I've told you guys that that's who I've learned a lot of sales stuff from. He always asks, "Is there any other decision makers involved that we need to give respect to at the beginning of each conversation?" Because that's the word. That's always the objection that always kills majority of deals. Is, oh,
Yeah.
I got my wife and all this other stuff, and it's
Yeah.
difficult because you have two people that got two different opinions on what they want to do.
Yeah. I had another situation where this old lady was in foreclosure and, our solution seemed to be like interesting to her and she kind of agreed to like that's what she wanted to do. And then like the last thing she said on the phone call was, I need to talk to my granddaughter. And I was like, okay. And left it there. And that was the last time I talked to her. And I should have just like had the granddaughter on the phone or see if she was available or something. And yeah, it was, yeah. So,
Well, would they be on title or they would just be mad by the sell?
so they were in foreclosure and she has custody of her granddaughters. I don't think that I don't think that they were on title. I think she just kind of held her granddaughters.
So she
Um,
has a child or something?
yeah, I'm not.
The property?
So her husband passed a couple years before, and she started making payments on the started. She picked up the mortgage payments. The lending company never reached out to her and acknowledged, that her husband or passed or anything. She just continued making the payments, and then she had something medical happen, and it got to where she missed some payments, and then they reached out to her and told her that they'd give her a notice of foreclosure and that they couldn't talk to her because she wasn't her husband, and kind of pretended like they didn't know that her husband's been dead for years. And
Oh, so it wasn't in a trust.
no, her name wasn't on the loan, but her name's been on the deed. So I don't know
So
what.
you might need a lawyer for that situation.
I had a buyer who wanted to buy it and allow them to stay in the property. Um,
What? Just rent it out to them?
yeah, or yeah, as long as they could pay the utilities and maybe even something for rent, he was going to allow them to stay in the property because he was just interested in buying it for future appreciation. And but
And
she kept.
they didn't
I
want to
even
take that
I
deal.
even I even door knocked her. Nobody answered. She might have thought I was from the bank. And then I even wrote her a personal letter, dropped it on her front porch. I have not heard a thing from her. She won't
What?
pick up my phone calls, nothing. So, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot to the story that I'm not aware
Yeah.
of.
They didn't want to take the deal of like selling and staying in the property.
I, she seemed like that's the route she wanted to go on our last phone conversation. But the last thing I heard was I need to talk to my granddaughter, and that's the last thing I heard.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's frustrating, but I thought I was gonna be actually help her.
Right. I mean, yeah, I would try to, you said you door knocked and left her a note?
Yeah.
What? I don't know what more you could do. That's as direct as you could get.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Were you talking to her in person or over the phone?
over the phone.
Yeah, you could just send like a text message or follow up.
Yeah, I've sent about three text messages and numerous phone calls, text messages, door knock, personal letter. I don't. I mean, the last thing I could do is kick the door down, but yeah, that,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes situations like that happens where you can't really force people to give them help. As much as you want to be able to provide a service. That situation sounds like a ideal situation. You get a lump sum you get a lump sum of money, and you don't have to go nowhere.
yeah.
That's kind of
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Unless they just went a completely different route, hired a lawyer, and
yeah,
tried to. I don't know. Who knows?
that makes sense.
So,
Well,
but she wanted to stay then, so maybe they would just add her to the, oh, she can't pay the mortgage.
What do you
Chris,
mean?
I guess I was getting confused because you said that she is in pre-foreclosure, but her name's not on the mortgage companies. So
Yeah,
they're
her name's not on the loan, but it's on the deed.
okay, so she wants to stay there. She's just having issues making the mortgage payments.
Yes.
uh,
Okay. So like do they have equity or where else would could they go?
Yeah, they have equity. I asked them
Maybe
what
they
their
could buy a place cheaper for cash.
maybe. I mean, I asked them what their plan was if they got foreclosed on, if they knew where they were going, and she said she didn't know.
hmm, that's
So
weird.
I don't know.
Wow, that's interesting because that's an ideal situation.
I mean, you
You
can't
get
really
to,
even do that's as sweet as it's probably gonna get.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
But you
Weird.
don't know what the granddaughter's telling her. Sometimes you get people interfering and make
Well,
her
no,
think
she
that
said
it's
that
some
her
kind of scam.
granddaughter and her husband were interested in buying the home eventually.
Hmm.
Oh, maybe they'll just make the mortgage payments then.
Yeah. They might just try. I think what it is they might just be trying to figure out a way to, like stay in the property and keep it in the family as a last resort. So they might want to just exhaust. You never really know, especially if you're
Yeah,
not privy to the whole situation as well,
I
too.
don't know. Maybe they found a better solution than me. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, Nick has to. We got to wrap it up because Nick has a hard stop for us at 3 o'clock. He got to use a Zoom call. But we'll be back again in full effect next week. We're gonna try to plan out some cool topics for you guys in the upcoming weeks. I really enjoyed cold calling your leads, so we might do that again as well too, just so we could do some live sales calls. But again, we'll be back next week from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. EST to next Tuesday. Okay.
Oh, I have a quick question before we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not sure if this is like the right channel or if I should give you a call, but I just started using your lead service.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did the leads, but I don't know if they actually started or not.
Gotcha. What's your name?
Lindsay?
Let me write it. Hold on. I'm gonna write down your name and then I'm gonna look you up and then I can give you a call with an update, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, got it. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
All
you.
right, take care.
Mhm.